Stealthy Rebellion here. So, I kind of wanted to make this video for a little bit after recent events. And you might be like, oh, what are you talking about? And I'm talking about the unfortunate um, school shooting. Uh, in it, a lot of the issue stems down to like the way some people treat it, and it's annoying, because you got the politicians, the billionaires, if you want to say that. And people think they actually care. I'm gonna tell you, they really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you, they really don't. And a lot of it is very obvious that they don't care because they'll just blame whatever they see. And a lot of the time, especially like lately, I mean, just throughout history, ever since video games existed, that is something that they always blamed was video games. But the craziest thing about that is like we have movies, we have books, we have TV shows, whatever else we have, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot that like if they're gonna blame one thing, you know what I mean? Like, why are they blaming anything else, right? Obviously, I don't really believe any of it is responsible for someone's mental health. I don't. It's more of an underlying issue that no one talks about. These politicians, they just blame something so that they can just get past it. Do you really think they care about what happens? Most of the time they don't. They need to say something for good politician, shit, so that they can get good value out of society. And that's just the truth, you know, because at the end of the day, who do you think, like, how do you think they run an office again, you know what I mean? Other than money. Okay. Obviously, voting ballots are usually bought out. But that's just besides the point. Um, for real, though. And you learn that shit in high school. You really do. But besides the point, it's really stupid. It really is. When a politician can sit up there and just blame video games. You want to know the truth? 99% of the time, no offense to the older generation, if there is somebody older watching this, um, but you gotta understand that not everyone in your generation is smart. We'll put it that way. And a lot of them are politicians that are really, really stupid. And that's just the truth. Because imagine if you're a billionaire or millionaire, even, really, and you have all this money, and what do you do with it? You fund your politic bullshit. It's really it, honestly. You just fund what you can for yourself, but never for anyone else. And that's the truth. So when people think that the politician they vote for really cares about them, most likely they don't. And that's just the truth. Um, could you imagine if there was something actually in place for mental health that was actually worth using? You know what I mean? Like, part of the reason why I don't know if I'll ever have kids is because, like, well, first off, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if I want them right now. But other than that, if I end up having kids, you know what I mean? First off, I'm probably not gonna have that kid go to school. I'm not going to. Sorry. I have a damaged esophagus, so that's kind of why. But um, I'm not gonna send them to school, and a lot of the reasons why is because of mental health, and I don't want them to go through a lot of the things that people do go through, because the truth behind the underlying factors of is it this or is it that? No, it's what causes them to have bad mental health, and can you say video games or movies or TV shows or any of that contribute to it? Sure. Okay. However, I will never ever say that is the cause of it because there will never be one cause of anything. There will never be it. And I will say that it's not the majority of the problem either. at all. Think about it this way: majority of people that buy video games, right, in different countries, do not commit crimes. Not to mention, the USA has the most leading amount of crimes between the same demographic of video games, violent video games, the people that buy violent video games every year, versus um, violent crimes. And America has the highest, which really tells you it's probably more than just the video games, right? I would show you, but obviously I don't have a computer to show you. But that's besides the point. Anyways, as I was saying, it's just straight up the most cringy thing you can ever hear is video games caused it. Video games caused this. Video games caused that. And it's like, no, they didn't. You want to know who really caused it? Probably politicians like you. I'm going to be honest with you. Because most likely it's a politician saying that. Sometimes it's somebody who's just way too into politics and that's all they look at. And then obviously that's just a clouded judgment at that point. So, Um, it's like if you've never tried it, how do you know? The truth is you don't know. Now, there are some people that will always blame other things. And my point being is we really, really need to look in the middle of it. What is the root of the problem? And no one does that. And to tell you the truth, it's mental health, and that's exactly why I would never send my kid to a school where everyone else is growing up, and everyone grows up with different parents and things like that, which also can lead to bullying sometimes, and different things like that, and that's not really fun. And then also depending on where they're being brought up anyway. Um, Regardless of parents, sometimes it could just be the neighborhood, right? That could be bad for them. There's so many different reasons and problems that could root to someone's mental health, and that's the truth. And my heart and just my love and my I'm not very religious, but whatever, I do believe something exists out there. I don't know if it's God or tree gods. I don't really know. That's a joke, but I don't know. But straight up, you never really know. But regardless, you know, whatever does exist, I pray that we can actually change this world for the better, because I'm really tired of it. Because anytime something like this happens, politicians just use it to their advantage. Gain some traction, gain some positive feedback or whatever, and that's it. And then they get to go on their merry-round way and then never talk about it again. And that's the truth, because most of the time they do exactly that. And I think that's really sad. And like I said, my heart, and like I just said, my heart, my love, and all that, and my hope and shit like that, it doesn't just go to the the parents of the lost victims and any injuries, or injured ones. Sorry, my bad, my voice. But also just in general. Let me take a drink real quick. It goes also to the people that have been parents to these kids. And the reason why is because at the end of the day, that is their kid, that is, son. And truthfully, maybe, they knew sometimes I'm sure some parents knew. Maybe not exactly what was going to happen, but, knew something was wrong and just didn't care. I do believe that. But I also believe that if we're able to actually change the world now, we have to do this as a society. We cannot do this as one person. We have to do it as a society, because politicians won't do shit. I'm gonna be honest, unless some politician watches this video and goes, you know what, it's time or something. But one politician ain't gonna do anything, so you best get a bunch of people on it. But as I was saying, there's nothing we can do as a individual or individuals. You have to do it as a group, and that's the truth. In order to actually change our society, because our society is really in shambles in so many different perspectives, and that's just the truth. People don't like looking at that because that's just the hard truth, and no one likes that. I guess I don't know, but I think you need to look at the root of different problems to solve them. You know what I mean? Instead of just blaming everything on one thing, it's just like, first off, there's multiple reasons now. It's like for me, for example, is I went through a lot. You know what I mean? Especially growing up, and it's like even me playing video games like now, it's like just playing King's Quest. Just recently, I think chapter 3 is like a romantic type chapter. I know I smiled. I was like, that's cute. That's cute, you know? I remember that. Now I don't like the puzzles in the game, and sure I get mad at the puzzles or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, god damn it," you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, is that going to make me go, "Hmm, I'm going to go outside and punch someone in the face or something?" What? No. You know what I mean? Like I think I don't know if our character ever punched somebody, honestly. No, no, that's true. I mean, let's just talk about goblins, for example. It's like goblins are in the game. It's, you know what I mean? If I'm killing a goblin with an arrow or whatever, you know what I mean? Does that mean I'm going to do that in real life? No. First off, goblins don't exist. Let's just pretend they do. Does that mean I'm going to just go out and hunt goblins? You know what I mean? Probably not. I mean, and then again, if you think about it, if they did exist, society probably would have already executed it, and they would be extinct by now. So, my point being is, even though they play blame game on these different things, is it's just it's just sad to be honest, because a lot of video games. Now, obviously, King's Quest really isn't the game to really say violent because it's not that violent, but Call of Duty. It's just like, sure, I get mad at video games. I do. That's obvious. I feel like most people do. But do you think people just get mad at video games? People get mad at work. People get mad at movies. I get mad at movies. For example, I forgot what it was called, but I watched a movie and this girl was cheating on the guy, and I was just like, come on. Like, really? But, it's more like, oh, it just stresses me out because it's like, that's something that in our society needs to change. But a lot of the time they were trying to glorifying it. I was just like, okay, nope. I was like, this is stupid. And I think it's because it's a problem in our society that we need to fix. That's just another problem. But back to the mental health thing. I truly believe that, you know what I mean, we don't want this to happen again, that we must actually take action. Because no one will ever take action. These politicians, they'll be like, oh, let's ban video games or something. That's all they'll say, and then, obviously they can't actually do that. And if you did do that, you know what I mean? Let's say video games got banned tomorrow. What's next? Movies? The whole entertainment industry, right, which is billions, if not trillions, of dollars, okay? I'm just going to say it. I'm pretty sure that the entertainment industry is bigger than politicians. My point being is I really don't believe that, that they'll do it at the end of the day. I mean, obviously they can't do it, but if they did do it, they would have a rude of awakening anyway, because they would know that they would be next, like the entertainment industry would know. And yeah, they wouldn't like that very much. And my point being, and then obviously we got civilians, just in general, like that isn't really part of any industry, that will also speak out about a lot of the stuff, because at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything. You know what I mean? If let's say all entertainment, anything violent was banned, what would that change? Absolutely nothing. You want to know why? Because you walk into a school, right? Regardless of what age you are in, depending on where you are, I'm sure too, because there's shittier schools that exist out there. There's terrible teachers that exist out there, by the way. It's like nobody talks about that too. There's terrible people out there too. It's like I just seen this other post the other day about someone getting dragged. It was a special needs kid, and he was dragged by a like a or a teacher or something. I forget what it was. Um, I think it was a teacher and a I think it was a I don't know if it was a principal or vice principal. I don't remember. But basically it was dragged through the hallways. You can't tell me that the root of the problem doesn't have to do with school at all. You know what I mean? Because I really believe that a lot of the times it comes from to that. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that they deserve, like the people that have already done something, that they deserve, um, you know, they deserve forgiveness for their actions, but I think they deserve understanding. And I think that's really, like, it's something you can understand, not agree with, but understand. Because I don't agree with it, obviously, that's the whole point of this. Um, but I also don't agree with people, just blaming everything else. Because that's really shitty. And like I was saying, you go to school, right? You can have the most shittiest experience your entire life, which, by the way, also, while you're growing up, your life gets triggers, you know what I mean? Like, you learn triggers throughout your life, right? But it is exceptionally, especially when you're young. And a lot of people use the excuse, oh, you get life experience during school. And the truth is, do you need school for life experience? And no, you really don't. And you want to know my take on it is like, if I ever have kids, I think I'd rather be traveling with my kid. But that's if, you know what I mean, if I ever do end up having one. But I'd rather travel with my kid. Obviously, you know what I mean, you gotta grow up a little bit so he can, actually have like memories and shit. But my point being is so that they go through these experiences so that they can look back on them and actually be more happier than most of society. Because for me, for example, is I don't want my kid to deal with what I have to deal with. And I feel like if anybody is like me that has went through these things, I feel like they would agree. You know what I mean? And some people believe bullying builds character, and I think that's the most cringiest statement in the world because at the end of the day, bullying just shows. Bullying is really just putting someone down below you on a pedestal, or that you're up on a pedestal and you're pushing them down, and you're telling them to stay there is pretty much what it means. And it's cringe when someone says bullying builds character. Now, I don't agree with that at all. Um, you know what I mean? Like, that really is just messed up quite a lot because if you think about it, you know what I mean? Like, some of these school shooters, right? Some of them have a lot of mental health issues, right? But do you know how mental health issues start? It's like everybody just forgets that. It's like there's things we can put in place to not have that happen. That's just me, and that's my take on it. I just don't believe, you know what I mean? Like, for example, there's things that I went through, and I get, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I get, it's like, for example, let's say you get in a fight, and you defend yourself, right? You both get suspended. What? Right? And then that's it. You get suspended for the same amount of days, which also, by the way, creates more stress on you when you go right back to school because you know what you're going to get bullied about next. Even if you won the fight, it doesn't matter. If you lost or won the fight, it doesn't matter because you know what's going to happen? Drama. A lot of people are going to be talking behind your back. And you would think that this would last like a week, right? No, that will last years throughout school. You know what I mean? Regardless if you're in high school, middle school, people fight in people fight in elementary. Because I was in one, or no, I wasn't fighting, but I saw one in elementary. It was fifth grade. I remember it. That's besides the point. But my point being is school is not good. I really wish when we put money into the education system, it wasn't wasted on tests, standardized tests by state, you know what I mean? And things like that. Because a lot of the reason why is because what if we started teaching more about mental health? That would be amazing. Because things would not happen like this. And it might still happen every so often. Because, You can't fix every problem, but you can at least educate people so that they know when to get help. Because the truth is, people don't know when to get help. They don't. You know what I mean? Even if they want help, sometimes they don't know how. And that's the truth. And I'm going to talk about my high school, my first high school, because they had like a mental health segment in like a health class in my freshman year. Now, they talked about it a little bit, but but it wasn't enough. It was weird because they talked about the big word suicide, but there's more to it than that. Why can't we talk about the hard stuff? Because we're kids? Like we don't know? We knew. We knew. And I really believe we can change this. And that's just the truth. Um let's start looking at mental health, stop blaming on things that don't exist because you know what I mean? If you're going to blame video games, well, I'm going to start blaming that the guy girlfriend broke up with him and it was a bad breakup. You know what I mean? It's like that's more of an issue, you know what I mean? Like let's say you do have a bad mental health and you get into a relationship and you're not really capable of like even doing anything with it, you know what I mean? And then they end up breaking up with you and then you snap. That is very possible, right? Very possible. Now there's things that the other person could be doing, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, they should help you, be like, hey, you need to do this. You know what I mean? I'm here for you, right? But instead, we we just don't focus on it and we don't really care. Do you know how many people will ask their significant other what's wrong? Just that statement alone, just that question, I should say. There's not many. And do you know why? It's because they're not even educated on that subject in the beginning of their life anyway. And if they were in the beginning of their life, they might do something. You know what I mean? There's teenagers that commit suicide every day. Every fucking day. Okay? Every day. Do you want to know how much or do you want to know how many people probably actually know that someone is going through something like that and do not talk to them? A lot of people. And people pretend bullying doesn't exist anymore because we don't report on it anymore. Oh, it does. And it always will. Until we change. But I don't know if we ever will. We can hope. But it's not like we have billions of dollars in our pockets where we can actually put the money into these type of projects to actually help. So, unless you're a billionaire watching this, you know, there's nothing we can really do other than talk about it and hope eventually someone will listen. Because someone has to listen. Anyways, like I said, my love and my prayers go out to these families. All families. Every single one. You know what I mean? Until something changes. I believe in what I'm saying. I really do. I think I don't know. I saw the video before I end this. I just want to briefly mention I saw the video of the the school shooter's mother, and she was like saying, he had his reasons, and that's my point. Is he does have his reasons. Now, it's not reasons you agree with, not reasons I agree with. Not saying that. I'm saying that he had his reasons, mental health reasons, and people don't ever look at that. Because people will look at that mother and be like, she really just said that, let me get pissed. You know what I mean? And then, and then get pissed and say terrible things about her when it's not her fault. Because she loves his son, loves her son. I'm just, I don't know. That's all I gotta say for now. I apologize for the little bit here and there. It's just the coughing and the dry throat, and then me trying to talk fast and remember everything with my ADHD, etc. Because I keep thinking about other things. But, anyways, thanks for watching. Let's hope something changes finally, and hope the blame game stops here. But obviously, I can't really do anything by myself, so can't really do that. But thanks for watching, and hit the like and subscribe button. Means a lot. And I'll see you next time. Bye.